Good evening. It is Leighton motherfucking D's the third, aka Skating Leighton. Mainly because I couldn't fucking find another name on YouTube, but I fuck with it. This is the first type of video like this. I'm gonna be talking about what I see in the behavior of gamers, specifically around maybe League of Legends, maybe even some Rocket League points. Those are the two main games I play. But I wanted to start this video out by talking about the easiest way not only to climb, but to make your games better feeling and more enjoyable. Okay? This is going to be a video about being the team leader, the IGL. You know, you're not even the shot caller, just a leader. You know, we need leaders. We need good leaders. A lot of people nowadays look for major sports to even find inspiration because people like that are just more engulfed in making humanity work with each other. You know, it may not be the whole globe, but at least the people they're in control of, you know, that they work with. You'll see that in this video that it is not your job to control everyone. It is your job to control yourself and what you can control. So let's start out with a big one, micromanaging your teammates. That is the number one reason you are losing your low elo games, okay? And even your high elo games. You know, this is coming from a Plat 3 player. I'm Plat 3 peak. I've been playing for 11 years. I'm not that good. I think I'm good, but also, like, these are things I've struggled with for the past 10 years. You know what I mean? So, let's get started. You cannot play the game for other people. Let me reiterate. You are not the player for someone else. You are playing your game, and that is all you can do. You're only able to focus on yourself and see where you can grow when you are 100% focused on what you're doing and how it affects the game, your teammates, your teams, goals, you know. But I want to make a point real quick before I start going down the list. A leader is not a boss. It is a companion who you almost look up to, okay? That person is not any better, any bigger, or more official, I guess you could say. You know, there's no reason you also can't be a leader. There's more than one leader. But a bossy leader is the least respected person you will ever meet. Someone that tells people to do it because that's what they think is the right way, or they said so, they think you need to do this because you don't know what you're doing, you know. That is not someone who is respected nor listened to in situations in which critiques are being given. You know, I would rather be critiqued by my boss who is caring and understanding for when I make mistakes than someone who is objectively looking for when I do not make mistakes. Quick lesson number one. You make the most mistakes when you are focused on correcting someone else's. It is impossible to consciously make a plan and continue to do what you need to do when you are focused entirely on someone else's actions. Because you don't know what they're going to do. You can't control what they're going to do, and you don't know what they might be thinking is the right thing to do. So, the easiest way to do that is focusing on yourself. You can't do everything, but you can do everything you are capable of doing. So if there's 5 people on League of Legends, right? Each teammate needs to give a 20% output to make the entire team equal into 100%. If you yourself are worried about someone else's 10% that they're not giving right now, you're lacking in your own 20%. Because League is not a game that is done and you then can do something else, okay? League is a game that is constantly playing until someone wins. So you are never done with what you could be doing. You know, I'm a support player. You know, right now I play a lot of Soraka and Karma and Shin and Seraphine. You know, I literally require my teammates to win. I do not play a 1v5 champ. I am not good at 1v5 champs. You know, the biggest 1v5 you'll ever see me do is play like Cho'Gath because I can eat someone while I have 4 people hitting me at the same time. And inevitably, Unending Despair is broken. So, I'm just gonna stay alive. However, I will not win the game single-handedly on any champ I play. I need my teammates to do their 20%. I cannot give more than 20 because, like I said before, you are not done with the game. You have as much to do as your teammates do, and that if you aren't doing something, that's a mistake. You know, you can only focus on yourself. That leads to my next point. It's always easier to come back or almost bounce back from a loss when you're focused on yourself, but also allowing others to focus on themselves. For example, your jungler goes in, tries to steal the dragon, doesn't get it, dies, and now y'all are like, oh my god, then I get a free Baron. You know, that could be something, you know, we inevitably know it is their fault for not understanding that maybe the team wasn't there to help them. You know, the dragon steal might not be important compared to a Baron steal, you know what I mean? So, inevitably allowing others to see where they mess up and take accountability on their own part is what's going to allow all 5 of your teammates to not only get better when they need to find, you know, oh, I have a hard time CSing. You know, I have a hard time being at the objective when I need to be. They need to know that. You will not, especially in video games, ego runs everything. And until you can understand that, you will not be able to tell someone what to do because of the fact that if you do, their ego then takes over. I'm sure you've had that one guy that was like, oh, he made a small mistake, and inevitably a teammate was like, dude, what the fuck? Why would you do that? That's stupid. Now my lane's harder. You know, like the easiest thing is a top laner getting ganked by the jungler, and instead of getting a kill, y'all both die. And now the top laner is furious because instead of just having the lane that was already hard, it's almost impossible now because there's a 2-0 Darius on the top lane and an 0-1 Shin and an 0-1 Viego. You know, inevitably they should have won that. Mistakes happen. But dreading over the mistake is living in the past. You are not at minute 5, you are not at minute 10 anymore. It could be minute 15. What are you going to do at minute 15? You know what I mean? Let's loop back around to ego real quick before I go to the next point. Gaming, right now in today's era, and honestly in life anywhere, ego is going to get in the way. And with the fact that our egos are inflated online and our personality, our literal person, like who you are, can be hidden, it gives a perfect breeding ground for narcissism. You know, it's all about me. It's all about me. Fuck you guys. You know, y'all messed up. I didn't mess up. Y'all caused me to mess up by messing up. You know, it is inevitable that you will find a teammate who thinks it is not their fault. It is not your job to tell them it's their fault. It is your job to just pick up the pieces. You know, the best teammate to have is not one that berates you for your mistakes after you've understandably found yourself in a position where you messed up, but someone who lifts you up to the next play. You know, hey, you know, I saw you just made a mistake. You know, maybe we didn't want a tower dive. There was a miscommunication. Now you're dead, and we didn't get a trade out of it. What are we gonna do? Bitch and moan because one kill was given on accident? That's just one kill. That's 300 gold. That's one armor cloth. Put that into your brain. One kill is boots. Not tier 2, tier 1. if you think the game is over because the enemy team has boots, you are not challenger. You are not pro play. It is inevitable that that person will make a mistake. Because think of it like this. Now they move faster. That's quicker to jump under a mistake. You know, if you're an ADC and you move faster than you think, in between kiting, you might overstep because you're moving so fast now. You know, that is inevitably what happens in League, you know. And really in any game, it's all about playing off your opponent's mistakes. You know, Azap, the Vel'Koz main in Challenger, is notorious for never FFing. You don't know why? Because it is not over till it is over. There is plenty of mistakes to be made by both teams. It does not mean if you are in the lead, you are immune to making mistakes. It is all about what you do with said mistakes, okay? Got a little sidetracked here, but I think this is the second point I was making, or, you know, there's another. Every game is just making the best out of the opponent's mistakes. You know, I just said that, but, like, think of it in the sense that, like, even if they're ahead, they can still make mistakes. No one is perfect. You know, even Faker makes mistakes. Watch his T1 highlights where they post just solo queue games of everybody. Faker is very aware when he makes a mistake. That's what makes him pro. He knows he messed up. He knows why he messed up and what he should have done. That's the whole point. It's not, oh, he messed up and we don't know why. It's knowing exactly why. He takes accountability. You know, he never blames his teammates. He can understand when it's someone's fault, but it's not like, oh my God, you're the reason we're losing. There's hundreds of small little things that happen in a game that inevitably make a win. You know, I'll say this before I go back to the other thing. Setting small goals is what inevitably will help you win. The goal is not to win, but it is what the outcome of all of your decisions compiled could make. So, say your goal is to just win lane, okay? Your goal is not to win. Your goal is to make sure that you focused on yourself for the first 15 minutes, 12, 13 minutes of the game. You didn't die to ganks. You got first tower, you got first blood. You're both your ADC and your support is 0 kills. You know, you're 0 deaths. On paper, you've done what you would assume to be both your ADC and your support's 20%. Okay, so 40% of your team's 100% is on track to stay at the pace. Okay? Because League is a pace game. Momentum is big. You know, I play Rocket League. Rocket League is a momentum-based game. Anything can happen in gaming. You know, think of a race and track. It's that easy to lose at the snap of fingers. You know, you can be 5 whole seconds across or ahead of everyone else on the field. You know, you're on turn 4 while they're turning turn 3. You know, you've got a gap. You tripped, face planted, and now you are dead last. Because you know why? You're focused too much on the effects and causation of what did I look like? Oh my God, I might lose now because I fell. Oh my God, I'm gonna be so far behind. Instead of realizing, oh my God, I just fell, I gotta get back up. I gotta get back up. You know, it doesn't matter if my knee hurts or I'm bleeding on my elbow. I have that much to win. You know, I've done this whole race. I got ahead. I did everything I could to get ahead. I am not losing this league. It is not what your teammates are doing. It is what you do every time. You know, I wrote this last night. Your game plan must explain how you are going to win, not what winning looks like. Okay? You know, the finish line at the race, you know, any race, we know what it looks like. Do we know what it looks like to get there is the big point, okay? And in League, every game can be different. It's hard to tell what might be the right decision next. Especially the lower ranks you go. I am watching my girlfriend try to climb out of Iron. Holy God. I've never seen so many mistakes made back to back to back to back to back in like 60 seconds. So when I say it is all about taking advantage of your teammates' or not your teammates, your opponent's mistakes. That is literally what you're doing in the game. You can do the easiest shit ever. I mean, CS is, it comes natural, bro. Like, every 30 seconds, a wave's gonna inevitably be there, okay? Is the wave gonna be a dragon? No. Is the opponent gonna be a dragon? Maybe. Should they be there right now? That's a question based on the game. You know, if you're ahead and you see the enemy team trying to do an objective and your team comes together, you know, and say you're a Soraka. I play Soraka all the time. I cannot walk up to Dragon against an assassin and a tank and assume I'm going to come out ahead. I may give a ward. I may hit some Qs, silence the engage, you know, but I'm not killing anybody. I'm not stealing the Dragon. It is inevitably too high of a risk and too big of a setback if I were to go in and try to steal Dragon with no smite and a Soraka damage, okay? So what I see is, what can I do? I can ward, I can tell my teammates, and let's say there is Dragon going on. There's two scenarios. You have Dragon doing solo by the jungler, okay? That is your best case scenario if you're Soraka support. He is getting hit by the Dragon. You are hitting him. He either has to focus the Dragon or he has to focus you. Okay? And we'll say in this instance, your blue side, you know, and your jungler is at his blue, but he's not coming. Do you get pissed off that he's not coming? No, because he's guaranteeing himself gold. That's good for him. Okay? Their jungler might be on Dragon. Okay? That's okay. The game might not... You have two different junglers in every game. There is no guarantee your jungler will be faster than the other one, based on when they gank, if the gank's successful, how long they stay in the lane, when they recall, if they recall at the right time. Are their camps in the right way? Is their Krugs open at the same time their Gromps up? You know, like, it doesn't all happen exactly the same in every game. So, I just want you to understand that you can only control yourself, in League especially. But never give up. No game is lost until it's over, okay? You have a fountain that one-shots everyone in the game, other than like 10k HP Mundo. I got that. But Mundo, she can get to 10k HP and come fountain dive you without inevitably him winning the game. He's done the right thing and focused on himself and got where he could be. You know, Mundo, tanks are a good example of solo play. That Heartsteel proc, holy crap, we will fight and die for a Heartsteel proc. At least in this household. Heartsteel proc, that shit more important than water, bro. I gotta get beefy. But I'm gonna round it out here. I'm gonna make 2 points. I'm gonna reference up here the League of Legends official YouTube. Back in the day, made a Teamwork is OP video. I suggest everyone to go look at it. It is almost a vault ancient relic at this point. I cannot believe it has been that long since that video has come out, and it to this day stands true. Once you watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. I can't reference everything, but it inevitably is talking about how being positive to your teammates, that one thing inevitably increases your win rate. And increasing your win rate is best case scenario. You cannot win every game, but you lose every single game you give up in. You know, if somebody was like, I give up, that's 100% win loss or a loss chance. Okay, they've already told themselves they lost. They're okay with losing. They already saw it coming. They're not trying anymore. They're not trying to win because they've already accepted defeat. However, every game you keep fighting to the end keeps your chances of losing above 0%, okay? Think of gambling. We're not gambling in the sense that like we're hoping the win comes to us or somebody gives it to us, but more in the sense that like we tried our best, okay? There might be some crazy shit, you know, maybe the enemy team gets both of our Nexus towers. Ooh, excuse me. Maybe the enemy team gets both your Nexus towers. Thankfully nowadays they respawn, so that's goated. But if they're fountain diving you for fun, that's free gold. That's less of a defense. That's mistakes. Because the game is not over till it is over. Okay? Lastly, mental booming. Please understand that is the easiest way to lose. Running it down mid, going and intentionally farming away from everywhere you need to be. Being the guy that is like, I'm going to do my own thing. And not realizing that your own thing might be purposely sabotaging. As a support main, I never value my life as more than anyone else on my team. Okay? If I die and we get 4 kills, 4 for 1, 4 for 3, if I am dead and we killed someone that is inevitably not the support, even if it is, if we got support for support, that's a trade. Dying as support is okay if someone else dies with you. I promise you every single time, if you are the support and you get a kill, or you inevitably help your team get a kill, if it's their support, that's the minimal amount of it's like an equal trade. If you are the support and you are not literally keeping everyone on your team from dying, it is always okay to trade 1 for 1 because you are behind as the support. Okay? And if you are behind as that teammate, say you're top lane, you got dominated all game. I play Shin. There's very rarely a matchup I know how to win. That's why I used Darius at the beginning. That motherfucker beats the shit out of everybody level 1. Does that mean he's going to win every fight? No, he can make mistakes. He can be over cocky. He can think he's got it all in the bag. Does that mean it controls what you can do? No. And it loops back to ego. CSing 0-1, getting all that XP and farm, better than just trying to get every single gold because, oh my god, he's zoning me out. I can't get the gold. I'm going to lose. No. XP is more valuable than gold in the early game. Because late game, you will find infinite amount of farm. Because Darius is not going to sit top all game. If Darius sits top all game and he's ahead, inevitably he's leaving his team to fight a 4v5 for the rest of the game. Okay? There's a reason Sion and Trundle are just, oh my god, are nemesis to people that are low elo because they do not understand how to stop or match a split push or when to leave someone to split push for just a little bit of time. But I'm a little bit rambling here. But the gist is, blaming others will not get you the win. Okay? Helping others understand how to bounce back from their mistakes is what you should be looking for. It's not pointing out what they did wrong, but helping them see what they could make up for in the long run. So say you die at Dragon, right? Inevitably, you died right when it spawned, okay? In the early game, you're going to be up before it might be dead. Run to your red side. Clear that whole red side. You know what he might be doing? He might be recalling after Dragon. If his whole blue and red side's up, you go to his blue side. You take his blue side now, who might have a little bit of an advantage in the later turns because, yeah, Dragon's a dragon. But you just took his whole blue side. That's his XP. That's his gold. He lost all of that. So inevitably his team won Dragon, but you just put him back. So now you've got a moment in which you've made up for your mistake by focusing on what you can do and not, oh, my teammates weren't there for me at Dragon, or blah, blah, blah. You're in control of yourself, and that is all you can be in control of. But I want to thank y'all for listening. This is the first video I've had like this. My girlfriend Anna wanted to give me inspiration on what kind of content I should probably be going towards. And she says I like to read people a lot. There's a lot of times in my games I'm not focused on what the guy's doing in the game, but more what he might be doing behind the screen. That Draven main. We all know Tyler 1. I love Tyler 1. But old Tyler 1 was the worst teammate to have. He was narcissist. He was egotistical. And he was in control. He only wanted control. If it wasn't going his way, he made sure it wasn't going your way. He ran it down mid. That is the worst teammate you can have. Tyler, I love you. I know you're not watching this video, but he grew, okay? Reformed Tyler has come, and he's been here for a while, okay? Y'all might not know Tyler as the real toxic guy, but more the loud, huge personality, still kind of toxic, but nowhere near what he was when he was in college, or when he had gotten out of college to do full-time. But at the end of the day, league may be 5 players, but you need to make sure you are doing your 20%, because 20 times 5 is 100. And if you can't bring your 20 to the table, why should you expect other people to bring their 20? Okay? So, love you guys. Thanks for being the homies. And I hope to see you on the next video. Don't forget to click here for the YouTube or the Twitch. I'm live all the time. I'm just about done with my Everyday for a Year challenge. I think we got about a week and a half until we're going to be doing day 365. Wrong, dickhead. I did some review. June 2nd, be here. Or not June 2nd. Yeah, wait, June? June 2nd. June 2nd, we will have a 24-hour stream to celebrate the 365 of streaming every day for a year challenge. This is where all these clips are coming from. I think I found basically what I could use for all my background plays. You know, I like compiling clips. I really haven't been a let's play kind of guy. You know, I like highlights rather than the full-blown game. You know, some parts are boring, and you understand that. But, yeah, just wanted to finish the video here because that guy was going fucking stupid mode thinking it was a week and a half away when it's about like 5 or 6. So I would appreciate you guys if y'all were here. I think I said it in the video, but basically we're going to have a sub. This is going to equal 5 push-ups, and we'll have some other stuff, you know. We'll never know. As you can see, there's some different games in these highlights other than League, so we'll be playing those throughout the stream. But love you guys. Thank y'all for being the homies, and doses.